2-3 out of France. Jeremy Renkerel.
It's almost never good enough for him, and that's why he's always striving to be better and better and better every day.
Sorti, Jérémy Renkerel est dans l'intérieur. Le pilote de Besançon.
In and out the final turn. Can Jeremy Renkerel hang on to it? Here comes Isaac Kennedy. Kennedy's gone as well.
BMX racing is such a feeling apart.
Andre Renkerel, Ramirez, Kennedy's making his move now. Roman Meyer.
Des moments où je l'ai vu craquer, des moments où je l'ai vu douter. Et c'est difficile de trouver les mots dans ces moments-là, de réconforter la personne qui est en face de nous, en l'occurrence la personne que j'aime.
When I'm on my bike, I really just think only BMX. I just leave out all the stuff between BMX, and yeah, this feeling is just unique. So yeah, it's kind of my life. Yeah. Jérémy Renkerel, 28 years old. I'm riding for Inspire Bicycle, Hurricane Tracks, BMX Besançon, Armée champion, and the French team. It was, yeah, really the end of the season, and I always used to do the Grands every year because it's on my contract with Inspire, and so I like the race. I like the atmosphere is different, and like all the best are there. So it's a good challenge to competing with those guys, and yeah, I was good. I just won the last indoor race before to come there, so I felt really confident. Yeah, was on the quarter with some good guys, and yeah, on the first jump, someone touched my wheel and blocked my wheel, and I passed in front, and I don't know what happened really, but I just put my hand in front of me and yeah, dislocated my shoulder, so needed to add an injury on it because it was the second time after a crash at the European Championship back in the day in 2016. So 2 dislocated means an injury, and I had some time to do too, so I decided to take a surgery on it, and yeah.
You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different? Man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro, don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a damn if you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move, I'm gonna make it soon, and I'll do it cause it's what I wanna fucking do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions, they blocking your vision. But no, you can't listen, that shit is all fiction. Cause you hold the power as long as you're dreaming.
There's no way that you make it, and maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it.
The body is, for the moment, okay, because I only do 3 sessions. It's easy, 1 hour from at every session, so it's okay.
I mean, when I got to know Jeremy, like in 2022, he opened up and started telling me a little bit about 2021, like with the Olympics and everything that happened to him before that and during that process. And for me as an athlete that's kind of been through that as well, I started to understand the adversity you had to go through to obviously get through that, and moved away from Paris, the French system, the French centre, I guess, and started to do his own thing. So I guess in the sense that he's taken a lot of responsibility on himself has really inspired me. I connected with it, kind of felt like a little bit what I was doing. And yeah, just to see him go through what he goes through and keep the mentality, keep the discipline, and yeah, I've never seen Jeremy miss a session, miss a rep, miss a set in terms of sprints, gym, track. Like, he's always super disciplined, and I think we see the final product on race day, but he certainly trains his butt off, and that inspires me as an athlete and as a friend.
Ça représente tout, sans en oublier l'essentiel. Jérémy, c'est quelqu'un qui fait beaucoup la part des choses. Le BMX, c'est sa passion, sa raison d'être, ça fait partie de sa vie, mais il y a aussi toutes les personnes qui l'entourent, et ça, c'est vraiment quelqu'un qui arrive à switcher, à faire la part des choses. Et c'est quelqu'un de très déterminé, quelqu'un qui donne tout pour ce qu'il a acquéri, tout ce qu'il peut acquérir. Et quelqu'un qui a beaucoup d'engouement, qui se lève chaque matin avec la même envie, la même détermination. Et à côté de ça, quelqu'un de très, très attachant, très attentionné.
Loneliness, a little bit of disregard, handful of complaints, but I can't help the fact that everyone can see these scars. What I want you to want, what I want you to feel, but it's like no matter what I do, I can't convince you to just believe this is real. So let go.
Shoulder is going better and better. Find more good sensation on it, but it's still sore. The mobility is but yeah. Takes some time, so yeah, need to continue the work and trying to be ready on March to be back on the bike.
Pour moi, Jérémy, c'est certainement une des personnes au monde qui a la plus grande capacité à rebondir. Effectivement, sa carrière est trustée de haut, de bas, de blessures, de réussites, mais même au sein d'une même journée, il est vraiment capable de rebondir tout le temps. Cette faculté-là qui est impressionnante chez lui.
Like during the injury, it was the first time I was not in the center to have like every person behind me, like the doctor, the physio, and everything. So I just moved to Clermont-Ferrand to have the surgery first with the doctor of the French team, and then I just take a physio here who just follow me straight after the surgery. So he really understand my injury, and he was such a good person for me during this bad time.
Tu maintiens 5 secondes et tu redescends en respirant toujours. Okay. Allez, quand tu montes, je retarde la montée de l'épaule. Voilà, l'épaule elle suit, le coude c'est pareil. C'est les deux mains qui montent. Allez, je tire dessus. Parfait.
And it was always positive, and that helped me so much. So it's good to have some people behind you when it's stuff like this, because they just remind you it's gonna be okay, don't stress, don't go fast to get back as soon as possible, because it's not gonna be great for the 2 years ahead, and like for example for Paris. So I really wanted to be 100% for the beginning of the season this year in Turkey, so yeah, I'm really happy about the process I had with all my medical stuff, and it's cool.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Some sprint, baby. How many you done? 8 on flat and 4 in down.
4 gun.
Down. 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 No.
Lorsqu'il a chuté juste avant les Jeux, en 2021, c'était lors d'un stage à Papendal. Je reçois plusieurs appels du sélectionneur, de son papa, de Jérémy, et je décroche au dernier appel et on me dit écoute, Jérémy est tombé au dernier passage, il s'est perforé l'aine, il y a un morceau de l'intestin qui est sorti, il va falloir l'opérer. Là, je déglutis 2-3 fois et je me dis la première chose que j'ai envie de faire, c'est de lui téléphoner, c'est de le voir, c'est de l'appeler et de savoir comment il va. Et en fait, Jérémy m'appelle et en fait, il est rempli d'émotions. Et il me dit c'est mort, c'est fini, ça s'arrête là, quoi.
The biggest one was 2021 for sure. It was closing like a cycle of 5 years with the COVID, so it was really tough to accept that, especially because I was 25 and I really felt like better than ever. So it was tough to not have the chance to competing on these 2 World Cup before the Olympics and get my chance to go there. So yeah, my crash in Papendal 2021 end of April.
Et c'est des moments qui sont pas faciles dans une vie pour la compagne d'un sportif de haut niveau. Mais c'est des choses qu'on fait, des concessions qu'on fait par amour. Et en fait, on sait que c'est pour son bien, on sait que c'est ce qu'il aime faire. Et en fait, on arrête d'être égoïste et on pense à la personne qu'on aime. Donc voilà, je suis très fière.
Depuis le temps qu'on travaille ensemble, on a appris à prendre notre temps quand il y avait une blessure. Donc malheureusement, il y a eu l'épisode 2021, qui a été aussi une très très longue blessure avant Tokyo. Donc 2022 a juste été appliquer les choses, de dire bon il y a une blessure, ça va prendre du temps, on va faire les étapes progressivement, on va pas se précipiter et tu retrouveras 100% de tes capacités en temps voulu, que ça soit en juin, en juillet, peu importe. Prendre le temps.
I signed for Inspire in December 2016. So Inspire have been such a great support since this sign. I really like the fact I developed the bike with them since the beginning, and now the bike is really like I want, and it feels good to have a bike like this. We just have such a good relation on so many years.
Yeah, it's road to building a BMX BMX brand for Jeremy, it was test. It was we talk about the geometry of the bike like a lot. We do some tests. We failed. We succeed sometimes. We fail. We succeed. And there is a lot of discussions. There is a lot of back and forth. And this role is basically to testing prototypes and giving inputs on geometry, new trends. In Medellin, Jeremy rode with a Pro XL. Now he's riding Triple XL. We changed a lot of the bike, we changed the geometry to fit his need. And our brand philosophy, it's basically if we meet all the demand of Jeremy, it's gonna probably one of the best frame on the market. So his inputs on geometry, on testing, and all the details that we put on the frame, it's thanks to Jeremy experience. So yeah, this is his role, and basically he's leading the brand from the beginning. So he also giving his input on the marketing side as well.
Je me cherche. Je sais pas quelle position adopter, trop bizarre. Je sais que ça soit naturel, tu vois, mais je peux pas m'empêcher de penser à l'épaule. Trop bizarre.
Full manual.
Full manual, il m'a dit. First try, Betty! Let's go!
Yeah, I think through difficult times like, the last few months for Jeremy and like I was saying before the Olympics, the support of brands around you and the ones that support you is so important for us as riders. You don't want to have to be dealing with an injury and worrying about the support of your sponsors, etc. And I think Inspire have always stood by their riders through the good times and the bad times.
And yeah, it's been a great support when I was injured too, especially the year of 2021. It was a little bit tough to accept everything, and they've always been on my side and call me and take some news like every 2 weeks. I think if I have a good relation, that's the most important thing for me, and yeah, it's a good deal with Inspire since so many years now.
And yeah, as a brand, for sure you have to think about about the brands, the sales, marketing, all this stuff, but we have to support the athletes as best as we can, and we are human first, right? So for sure, when we sign some great athlete, we think about success, but you also have to think about fails, and shit happens, and for athletes it's even more difficult for them to be out of the track. So as a brand, you have to supporting them as best as you can as a brand, for sure.
It was tough to do some bad stuff, like at the training, like at the gym, going on the bike at the gym every day, and doing some mobilities on my shoulder every day. But you can't see the improvement on it because it's a long process. It was tough to do, but I knew if I was really consistent on it and focus on it, it will be pay off. And finally came back on the bike, doing some sprint more than 2 months after. So I was really happy with this, and came back on the bike like 3 months and a half on the track after. And it was a little bit hard at the beginning because I felt not fit enough to ride my bike. But the thing's getting better and better every day, and I just came back to do some jumps and finally some gates, because if you ride it's cool, but if you want to competing it's hard to not do some gates. And I really appreciate to get myself on the gate 4 months after my injury. So everything is starting to coming together again. I just try to not thinking about my shoulder when I ride, and it's more natural when I ride. And I enjoy again the training and the process.
I think it's a privilege first off for me to be able to train with him every day. When I first came here, I kind of heard from a few people that he likes to do his own thing, and I was kind of like, maybe I won't get to train with him and learn from such a good rider. But yeah, I think I've been super lucky to be able to train with him and him invite me to his sessions. And you've just got he's got such a good mentality. Like, it's almost never good enough for him, and that's why he's always striving to be better and better and better every day. And I kind of feed off that. Like, every session has to be better than the last one. Every day has to be better than the day before, and it's contagious. Like, when you surround yourself with people like him, it certainly lifts you up and lifts the people around you up to their level. So I'm certainly fortunate as a friend and as a teammate to be able to train with him. But yeah, I think when you see Jeremy train, it's no surprise when you see him race. Like, it makes sense. He trains hard and he races the same.
Pedaling, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, until the reception.
Step up or step down.
Step down.
Manual the whole straight, and then finish with the triple. That is disgusting. Don't have it anymore.
I have one more chance.
Yeah, but I said you don't have it anymore. The old Jezza, he would have done this shit.
You're gonna do it.
Let's go! He didn't even see it. Let's go, Jezza!
I think, yeah, after him telling me about his year previous to when I met him, and then I start training with him day in, day out, getting to know him away from the track, on the track. Leading into the World Cups last year, I was excited to see how he'd do. I was a little bit nervous as well, and just, you know, you want someone that you get along with to do quite well. And I remember the first day in Glasgow, he got out in the semi, and I think it was the Champions League final that night. So I went to his hotel and we're watching the game, and he was sort of telling me how he's changing his gear to go a little bit smaller, and I felt like a little bit of anger inside of him. And the next day he just came out, and yeah, when he won that World Cup in Glasgow, just to be his friend and be there was incredible. And I told him, I think that was one of my best days of the whole year, just to see such a good friend win his first World Cup. And yeah, I think it was just such a cool day for everyone that knows Jeremy.
The many leads are go. Let's see what's going to happen in the next 30 or so seconds as they head towards turn number 1. Berlena, banging bars with Dave van der Berg. Paddy Sharrock's gone down in that crash as well, so we've lost 4 riders out of 8. It's Renkerel in there in one. Booty's gone down as well, so 5 riders out of 8 have hit the deck. It's Renkerel, Kennedy, Andre, the only 3 riders left standing in and out of the final turn. Can Jeremy Renkerel hang on to it? Here comes Isaac Kennedy. Kennedy's gone as well. 6 riders hitting the deck. What? Dave van der Berg kind of went sideways in the first turn, collected everybody else. Jeremy Renkerel's collected his coach after the finish line. Leo Garayan's jumping up and down. Sylvain
Jeremy signed with us for several years. So what's next? It's just still continue what you created, what we began 8 years ago. We are now creating a new frames. We are working to get something for the Olympics, ready for the Olympics. So the next will be bright, I think.
It's important to just do some new stuff with the bike sometimes, and not staying with the same bike every year. And there is always some improvement to put on it. So yeah, it's good to have some change on the bike every year. And yeah, for the new ones, I rode this since 1 month now, and it feels pretty good.
And next with Jeremy and us, it's just continue this awesome journey, and we still continue to help him as best as we can. And yeah, definitely deserve it. So let's continue this awesome journey.
To be honest, I think it's 50-50 because I just coming on the season in April with not really a good preparation. The goal was to be ready for Sakarya in Turkey, and unfortunately I crashed just 2 weeks before Sakarya, so I came there with not stress but like kind of stress, and I wasn't thinking I would be at 100% for the first one. I was just reflecting since December after the surgery. It wasn't the best option to get there a little bit injured. Just came back for Turkey more motivated than ever, and I was like in my head like I have no time to lose, so I just need to get back at the training and do something. It works, and yeah, I came to Papendal and get into the final 2 times. So fifth, but after 2:18 to begin the season, I take the 2 final in Papendal for sure. And yeah, the season was getting better and better. Every month I felt better. I was not thinking that much of my shoulder because it was very different for me. I just had a feeling on the gate. I was thinking on my shoulder sometimes. And the fact is, the gate is my strength in general, so it was tough to deal with that. Yeah, I came on the championships months with better sensation, and yeah, I took 2 in Besançon.
À la ligne numéro 3 pour la France et également pour Besançon, Jérémy!
Felt really good. It was so good to competing on my own track and in front of the French crowd and everything. I really wanted to perform, and I'm not gonna lie, won my first title, but ended second and behind Nick. It was better on this lap, and so then, yeah, maybe my favorite time of the year, the World's Prep. I really wanted to perform there for sure because in 2022 I won my first World Cup there, so I really wanted to get back there and perform again because it's a kind of special place to me. So here we go. We just do the week there, and yeah, first day, first round, I just crashed on the first corner. Had a good crash, like yeah, just scratches really bad my elbow. Took a little bit of my head too. After the crash, I just looked around me and I felt like, no, it's not possible. I can't believe what just happened. I felt just so good, and in one straight, my world championship is over. And in my head, I really wanted to not accept that. I said, okay, just go back on the bike, try to finish the lap. Even if you last, you're just crossing the line. Go under the pit of the French team, and we'll see what happens. And so, We just saw the damage with the doctor and everyone, and I just saw the face of everyone, and they were like, it's gonna be hard to continue this race. And in my head, I was like, I had some crash many times before the race, during the race, and the fact like I didn't broke something on this crash, so I was like, I'm here. I'm here for the World Championships. I can walk. I need to continue. I'm gonna try the LCQ and we'll see. I won my LCQ, and it was just so satisfying to just feel like I'm capable to ride again. Especially after this crash. And yeah, I took second on my 1.8 after, so made the job. I'm qualified for the next day, second day. So I came back to the hotel. The doctor do some stitches on my elbow. Wasn't a good moment, but I had no choice. If I wanted to ride again the next day, I have no choice to do it, so I did it. And yeah, spent a good night. To be honest, it was okay. I woke up and I knew the goal was to do a really good warm-up to make sure I have less pain on my body to try to ride my bike. I did everything to be on the best shape ever for the practice. But warm up is something, and ride this bike is something else. And I just came on the track and I did my first lap at the practice, and I was like, that's gonna be hard, really, really hard, even harder like than the day before, obviously. And so I came back for the warm-up. I didn't do one gate. If I was at 60%, it was a victory on this practice. So I make some violence on my body again and try to be ready as much as I can for the quarter. I didn't have a good start in the quarter. I was last, but I was on the inside, so I was lucky to be on the inside. And I just take the wheel of, I think it was Romain and Leo. And yeah, we did a good lap. So I passed the finish line in the quarter, and I was like, I'm capable to continue this race. I'm qualified for the semi. So now, forgot everything, ride. Just think, ride, and try to perform and do the best as you can. With this lap in the quarter, I was on the inside on the semi, and yeah, it was like a refresh after the quarter, like I said before, and I think I did the best hill of the day in the semi. So I was like, I'm capable to do something today. I did 2 in the semi.
Go, Jez! Move! Yes! Let's go! Go, Jezza! Yes, baby! Yes!
And then it was the final. It was a feeling like I never really had before. Like I was more thinking of my pain and shape and what I'm capable to do, but I wasn't thinking of my results. I just wanted to try and prove myself like I can do something even the pain. I've done this in the past, but not really like this, especially on the World Championships. And yeah, I took 5. I was battling for the podium on the second straight, but it was a really stacked one. I was preparing something on the third straight to try to pass Joris in the last turn, but Carlos came and passed me on the inside. So yeah, ended 5th. So another Worlds final isn't that bad, so especially with this shape and his feeling. Like I said on the social after, it was just a roller coaster weekend, and such a good experience to maybe said after my career, and a good story. Yeah. So then we done the Worlds. The level is just so stacked, especially in the French team, and this process for the Olympic and the qualification. So ended 5th at the World Championship is not enough to just think about the games next year, because they did 1, 2, 3. So I crossed the line and I just saw them did 1, 2, 3, and I was like, fuck. It's good, but it's not that good. So I wanted more. It was 3 final in a row, like Papendal 2-time Worlds, and 5th at every final. So I really wanted more, and I came to Sion, and this one, the goal was to be on the box, and it was minimum to be on the box, and yeah, I had some really good sensation, and it was very, very good to ride in front of the French crowd again. This race was special, and it was good to do 1, 2, 3 again, but with different guys on the box. It means the level of the French team at the moment and the French guys, and yeah, just I really find myself again, and I proved myself like I was capable to be on the box again. So it felt really, really well. And then the Argentina. I'm not really a huge fan of doing 4 races in a row on the same track, and I really struggled to find my rhythm there. I did 2 quarters on the first weekend, so took a crash to finish the weekend. Not the best option. The track was short too, not so much space to do something on the track to pass some riders and stuff. So you really needed to have a good start and take the whole shot and yeah, be in the front. So yeah, it was really, really, really short on the first straight, and took a hard one. Had 2 days off after. So yeah, I crashed on my kidneys on the first turn. I just hurt some past injury. Maybe it was at the end of 2015, and then the 2 next day I just pee some blood, and I felt really, really scared about it. And so 2 days off. At the end of the second day, my pee was better, and I could try to train again on Wednesday. And I did a full day of training, and it was okay. I didn't have some pain, so I felt really, really relaxed again. And we decided to change some few things with my coach, Mike Violin, for the next weekend, and it works really, really well, because I came on the first day of the last weekend of the World Cup season with a 5th place, again 5th place, but it was a final, so it was definitely better than 2 quarters. and yeah, the last day I just have no rhythm on the. I didn't put it together when it counts in the quarter and ended fifth, so did some mistakes, and yeah, it was frustrating to end this season like this, because I had a good rhythm with Papendal, the Worlds, Science, and yeah, I can just say, okay, I made a final in Argentina, but one final out of 4 rounds for what I want is not that good, and yeah, the season is definitely over. So yeah, the season is now over, and we had some discussion with Inspire, and I really can't wait to try the new one, because I think we just did something good, and so yeah, the frame should be arriving in December, so I really can't wait to have it and to ride it on the track. I'm really excited about next year, to be honest. I already know the plan. We did something with Mike Viola, my coach, and we just reflecting during 2 weeks after Argentina, and thinking of something. And the fact, like last year, I didn't have a really good prep and a really good winter prep to prepare very good for the season, and yeah, I really can't wait to do a good preparation for next year. Obviously, I'm more motivated than ever to come on the season opener on the best shape I can have. So I know, like, the World Cup begins in February next year because of the Olympics, and I know I can be good and strong at this time of the year. In the past, it works to just in the following winter prep. I just feel very good, strong, and when I feel like this, the mental just follow, and it's really a good sensation to just come on the World Cup, like a race like a World Cup like this. So yeah, I can't wait to do a good winter prep.
And right now Babylon, they on my case.